Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. If you guys don't know, T-Mobile and Sprint are going to be merging. They're just about to close a deal on the merger, which means they're going to be kind of combining the two companies. So with that said, today I want to talk about kind of that merger and how it's going to affect our industry. So with that said, let's get into today's video. So within the next couple of months and years, as I said in the beginning of this video, Sprint and T-Mobile are going to be merging. And actually, as you guys know, there's actually four major basically wireless carriers in the country right now. There's Sprint, T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon. And obviously, Verizon and AT&T are kind of the two powerhouses. But with this merger, they're going to be proposing to actually make three major wireless carriers. And yes, there's some of those smaller ones like Xfinity and stuff like that, which are like branches of like Verizon, and there's other branches of the other companies like Boost Mobile, Cricket. But with that said, this is going to change a lot for us. I mean, if this gets approved, there's basically going to be three major carriers. Sprint's actually going to take T-Mobile's name, so the company will still be called T-Mobile, with Sprint's kind of like capabilities. So the three big powerhouses are going to be Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. And how that's going to affect phone flipping is basically, it's not going to affect it necessarily in a negative way on that aspect. It'll just kind of make our lives a little bit easier in the sense that we only have to worry about basically three major carriers. It's going to be one of those three. And so therefore, like the whole SIM card kind of aspect, you're not going to have all these different kinds of SIM cards when checking the phones and stuff like that. If there's smaller stuff that we're going to need to check on, I obviously don't know too much about this. I know pretty much the same as you guys are, but I'm just interpreting it my way in terms of like phone flipping. But yeah, SIM cards could definitely be an easier aspect for it. So another big way that this could affect us is, obviously this has been going on in talks for a little bit while, but the 5G network, and obviously they're going to be starting to bring that to kind of like the phones, and like it'll be more than phones, stuff like that. But Verizon and AT&T have been kind of like the powerhouse in the sense of like working on capabilities of getting 5G network on mobile devices, and obviously that's going to change how we appraise phones. But before that, T-Mobile and Sprint were kind of like the lower end. They were kind of the slowest competitors in that industry trying to get that 5G capability. But now that they're merging, they're going to be definitely a big player in that. And kind of that the 5G network will affect us is, I don't know if everything will be on 5G at once. Maybe certain companies will be using 5G. So that'll, again, definitely change how we appraise the phones. It'll affect phone prices a lot more, in the sense that like a phone with a 5G network could be priced a lot differently, or probably a lot higher than a phone with a 4G connectivity. And I don't know how the transition from 4G to 5G could necessarily work, whether good or bad. So it's definitely something to think about with the merger. Another big talk about the whole merger is that they don't really know if prices for customers are going to go up or down, and that honestly might affect people and how many phones are being bought and sold every day. More people might take less phones if it's more expensive, or more people will take phones if it's less expensive. T-Mobile has been kind of like the powerhouse in the fact of like having lower prices. They did this like uncarrier term, I think they called it, where they didn't want to associate them with the high prices of having like a carrier on a phone. So it'll be interesting to see how those prices will kind of affect the industry, if they're all going to go up, because now there's only three carriers instead of four, so competition, they might have to level with each other in a sense like that. I cannot say one way or the other, and no, I don't think anybody can, on how prices will be affected, whether it be high or low. But it'll definitely be interesting to see if one carrier is definitely much higher than the other, we're going to start to see a lot more phones of that carrier. That'll be it doesn't affect us negatively in any way, but that just might be something we're buying a lot more of. Maybe T-Mobile will try to keep that kind of low price mentality, so a lot more people, so everybody obviously going to Sprint will be going to T-Mobile if they choose to do so. But people from AT&T and Verizon might end up going to the new T-Mobile carrier. Just something to look out for in the future. And the last point, and honestly probably the most important part about this whole video, is kind of how they're going to be merging. So I read a couple articles, I did a bunch of research on it these past couple weeks, and so apparently when the merger happens, obviously it's going over to the T-Mobile network, but in that time of the merger, Sprint carriers will actually be able to use T-Mobile network and their connection when they don't have connection in certain places, because Sprint obviously isn't like the best network out there. It doesn't get all the capabilities, but what they said is that they're basically going to allow them to get on the T-Mobile network when the Sprint network isn't available. So that'll be definitely interesting in terms of like appraising phones. Does that increase the value of the phones now that they're basically using two networks? So that'll be definitely interesting to see how that affects it. But overall, one thing that we should keep in mind is that this isn't happening for quite some time. This is more 3 to 5 year kind of time frame. So this is nothing for you guys to worry about in the near future. You have to keep that in mind. Don't worry about it. Don't make it affect how you're going to appraise phones anytime soon. I mean, the earliest that the deal could literally go through would be like the middle of next year, so like June, July, August of 2019, and then the implementation phase will start to go into kind of effect where, and then because like in that time obviously they have to transfer 100 million Sprint customers over to T-Mobile, and they said that'll take about 3 years, and that's honestly probably minimum. So I can definitely see that this being like a 3 to 5 year time horizon. Nothing's gonna happen until middle of next year, so most of you probably won't even be in this industry. I might be, just because we'll kind of see where it goes, depending. I mean, life changes, but it'll be definitely interesting to see like what's going to be happening in the next couple of years, what's going to go through. And this honestly, it hasn't gone through yet. They still need to get the final pass through, I don't know, some sector of the government that they need to actually pass that there's only going to be 3 large like mobile carriers in the or wireless providers in the US, being T-Mobile, the new T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T. That still has to pass because there is a lot of regulations behind that. There is like the whole idea of CDMA versus GSM, kind of how they host their carriers. There's a bunch to go on the back end. So definitely, if you guys have any new information, definitely leave a comment down below. Just kind of if you want to just start a discussion about it. I love talking about this kind of things. I mean, phone flipping is kind of my life right now. So if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you're not in the family, hit that little subscription button down below. I'd really appreciate the support. But with that said, new week. I hope you guys set some goals. If you hadn't, write them down for this week. It's a new week. I know we're going to be killing it. It's the end of the month, so you guys should be buying a lot of phones right now, stacking up to sell and make a huge profit at the beginning of May. So with that said, I hope you guys have a great Monday, and I'll see you tomorrow in the next video.